Welcome to Life with Strings Attached. I'm your host, Jamie Gale. This week on Life with Strings Attached, I sit down with Avi Shabat. From growing up in Jerusalem, discovering music in the middle of the grunge era, and serving in the military, to building a career in sound engineering and eventually founding Shabat Guitars in Los Angeles, Avi's story is one of resilience, collaboration, and vision. In this conversation, we talk about uncompromising craftsmanship, the Frankenstein spirit of blending influences, and what it takes to turn passion into a thriving guitar company. I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Avi Shabat. I hope that you do as much as I did. Avi, great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
Thanks so much for being on the show. Welcome to Life with Strings Attached.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to this. You know, I don't get enough Avi time in my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's getting hectic, more hectic every time we see each other. It seems.
Yeah, I mean, life gets busier, but for me, I think that we spent the most time while we're both kind of stranded in a foreign city, and our flight is some other time, and so we're not hectic. We're kind of killing time, walking around the city looking for a restaurant.
Yeah,
and so I think the last time was in Mannheim, and before that it was Vancouver, and yeah. Anyways,
yeah, Germany.
Yeah. So how are things there in Southern California?
They're good. Yeah, summer is not as aggressive as there were some brutal hot summers before. I don't even remember which year or whatnot, but this year feels not too bad. So
Didn't you grow up in like Israel?
I did, yeah.
That's a hot summer, dude. That's
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Jerusalem, so Jerusalem is colder in
okay.
comparison to Tel Aviv or anywhere on
Okay.
by the beach. But yeah, Jerusalem was actually perfect weather in a way.
Oh,
Cold in the winter and nice and warm in the summer.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's the way I like things also, but that depends a great deal on who you're talking to as to what they prefer. But
Yeah.
yesterday I was talking to someone in Israel. Maybe you know Omer Deutsch. You know Omer, another guitar maker?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was saying that his air conditioner crapped out because it couldn't keep up with the heat with wherever he is. So anyways, yeah. So great. Avi, I find it's, I like to get some of the backstories where our listeners know, exactly who we're talking to and such. And so would you mind giving me sort of the, just the brief biography, where you're from, when you were born, a little bit about your family and growing up, and then just the moments that if we took those away that you feel you wouldn't be who you are, just those critical bits of information, for instance,
Yeah.
people wonder how I can travel as much as I do, and don't you miss home? But when they find out that I've lived in more than 40 places, you realize, well, I don't really have a sense of home. I have a sense of family, my wife, my kids, in which I travel all over the world with them. But I don't have, so that moving so much as a kid is really informative as to who I am today. So, give us some backstory and maybe some of those little insights as to what makes you such a fucking rock star of a guitar maker.
Stop it. Yeah, it's funny. I don't really prepare myself for interviews, and I always get caught off guard.
Don't worry about it. Just pretend like we're at dinner.
Blanked out. But yeah, I grew up in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Born in 1978, and Jerusalem. I grew up in in a isolated kind of neighborhood, like a suburb of Jerusalem, and it was hardcore for a while. And
What do you mean by that?
It's just like there was that specific neighborhood had a lot of I remember it was not the safest. There was a lot of like, as a child, I didn't even know what it is, but I saw a lot of like there would be drugs and stuff, um, uh, and I remember around the Gulf War, which I forgot what I think it was
91, I
remember
think.
what
90, 91,
91
somewhere in there.
was.
That's when it started anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, so around that time, we decided to move towards kind of like the center of Jerusalem, which is a different area.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was growing up in that neighborhood and kind of like having a rough go of it for a while as a kid. You know, some fights and some altercations and stuff. But so yeah, and then we moved to the center area of Jerusalem. I think I was sixth grade or something.
And who's we?
It was like the entire family. So it was at the time it was me and I have two brothers and a sister, and I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved. We moved there. I think my sister was just born at the time, and I had my two brothers. And we moved to a nicer area. Remember you just get dumped in a new school, and you kind of like, okay, these people are completely different than the people I know from the other neighborhood. So it was kind of like adjusting and learning to behave differently in a way. But that was like the good times where like the 90s and grunge time, where everything just I discovered that and discovered guitar around that time.
How old were you when you discovered grunge and guitar?
I want to say sixth grade or so, right? Something
so
around
roughly
there.
12 years oldish, something like that. 11, 12. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's all a blur. Like,
no, that's it. That's 1990. That's sort of, I think, when Nirvana hit the stage of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. That's when things flipped from metal and to grunge. Is exactly that year when you're 12. Yeah. Okay, so you were a part of that.
And I had my Discman, and I had like folders of tons of CDs, and I was just like drenched in music, and then I discovered the guitar. Accidentally, I went to like this party, and my friend had like a classical guitar, and he was playing "Nothing Else Matters" on it. And before that, you only hear it on the record or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he played it. He played it very articulately, and I was like, man, this thing actually makes those sounds out of like this box. And I was like blown away by that. I went home and I asked my dad to try and get me any guitar, just get me a classical guitar so I can, start messing with it. And I ended up buying this Samick. It was cool. And started to kind of play around with it, and I got a little teacher. It was like a 20-minute walk from me, I remember. And I would walk to him, and he would just kind of like, what do you want to learn today? It wasn't like, it was just a little bit older than me. And he was just like, let's just have fun and just let me teach you what songs you're interested in. And, so he started teaching me the basics. And, the thing with me is forever, I would never have the butt to actually sit and practice and take it to the next level. I don't know if it's laziness or what, but yeah, it's something with my wiring, I guess. but I took it to where I took it, and then it was the time to get electric guitar. I was begging my dad again to get me an electric guitar. So it was the time where like the ESP Kirk Hammett's were like my go-to, with the skeleton fingerboard. It was like, and at the time, yeah. So I dragged my dad to the store, and that's the store that I would just walk by, drool um, at the guitars, for years, and eventually I dragged my dad, and and yeah, he went, we went together there, and I was set on like the ESP, but there was nothing in stock, and I ended up buying this Rev Beach signature model Ibanez. It's a limited run that now I think those guitars are actually worth a good chunk of change because they didn't make a lot of them. And Rev Beach kept changing companies. I think it went with Sir for a while, and
I have the same story. I went to buy an ESP, and actually they had stock. The salesman was a dick. And I was like, I'm not buying from this guy. And I went somewhere else and I bought an Ibanez.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you bought an Ibanez Rev Beach.
I bought an Ibanez.
From Winger, right? Rev Beach was the guitar player from Winger, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't even know about him at all. And I actually didn't like visually, I didn't like the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But the salesman there is like, try this guitar because it's pretty awesome. So I played it, and it had like a full rosewood neck and with a very comfortable profile on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, this is not visually what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a mahogany with like the cut. The guitar is somewhere around.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, he ended up convincing me to buy that. Over because my second option was the Ibanez S series, the skinny ones, and he says don't buy those.
That's exactly what I got.
So that's what you got.
I had an Ibanez Saver, like the super thin, like Frankenstein sort of thing. That's cheers.
But yeah, so I bought that, and then I told my dad, well, I do need an amp. But that guitar was at the time, I think, was like over $1,000, which is a lot more than I wanted my dad to spend. But he was like, no, we'll get you something good. He would always get me the best if he already get me something. But it usually took a lot of begging, but it would eventually cave and buy.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we bought that, and then we went to a different store, and because I kind of wanted a Marshall. So there was the JCM 2000 there, and that was a very expensive amp, and I really wanted it, but I didn't want my dad to spend the money.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up going back to the other store, and I bought this used crate amp that sounded like ass. But I used that for a while, and when that started, I had a friend who's just started drumming, and I had this like a little rehearsal spot in my building. It was like all the way down to the storage units, and we were just jamming there, and just the whole building would rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And funny story was like all the neighbors were mad at me, but there was just one guy who was a cello player at the Israeli Philharmonic that lived in the same building as mine, and he made an acoustic room right next to us where we were jamming. And he would play his cello there, but you couldn't hear him because he really did the isolation and everything. And every neighbor that tried to mess with us when we were making noise, he would go to them and he was like, let those kids play. Don't mess with them. Don't tell them what to do. Let them jam. Mm-hmm. So, that's great. Yeah, it was such a cool dude. So yeah, we started just making a lot of noise. It was good times, and just getting drunk and yeah, just rock and roll times. Yeah, it was awesome. The 90s were great. I'm still reminiscing.
I hear that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then what's the next thing that happens? So you're drunk and playing guitar in the basement.
Yeah. So
in Jerusalem.
So
and so what's next?
So we're playing. Then one day I walk and I see like where they put stickers on poles, telephone poles with like RIP.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody posted a thing saying, "I would like to play with people, no matter what. Just if you want to play, hit me up." The guy name is Raul, Argentinian guy.
Yeah.
So I hit him up, and then I meet him, and he's got the Tascam 38. Remember those? They're doing a comeback. I think Red Shawl just bought one. So they're like an 8-track with a mixer and everything.
Yeah.
And so we started like futzing with that and recording, and I got into bass as well. So I got a bass as well, and we started recording. And then I'm like, man, the whole recording thing is awesome, and I got hooked on that. So later on, I convinced my dad again to go buy me a 4-track. So he bought me a 4-track, and I started messing with the 4-track and recording. And so that went all the way till, around 11th grade, or maybe earlier than that. I had it was just pre-army thing. Around I was either 16 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
I had a cousin that lived in the East Coast here, and his brother was my age, and somehow it brought up that maybe both of us will go visit him and just have a trip in the U.S. just kind of before the army thing. So we did that, and we went and visited him, and we did like a coast to coast thing, and I went and saw some shows, and I think that was the second time me being in America, and that's when I kind of fell in love with the U.S. Just there was just a different vibe that I really loved.
Where were you on the East Coast?
So he was in Maryland.
Okay.
But I think we landed in JFK. He picked us up there, and then we kind of drove down south. And we just had a great time. We were fishing and going to Six Flags, and I went to see Rage Against the Machine in Philly. I remember Philly, yeah. Yeah, and it was such a blast. And then we flew back, and I had to get recruited to the army. And yeah, and then this whole thing was just in my mind, like, man, I'm so into kind of moving forward with some kind of music career. Like, I knew that I would have to be around this in some way or another.
Okay. So you're 18, so yeah. Is that right? 18 for the army, and you have to do one year service or 2 years. How long did you do?
I did 3 years.
Oh, 3 years. Now is it 3 years mandatory service, or you had a mandatory portion you stayed on for a bit?
No, it's a mandatory 3 years.
Okay, so 18 to 21. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did that, and it was very character building, I would say. Like, it was he really it
was different than being drunk in the basement playing rock and roll? Really?
A little bit, yes. Yeah, it was slightly different.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up being like a drill sergeant, and I had to yell at a lot of people.
Were you good at that?
And I was not born to do that, and I didn't think I was a leader kind of type. but the army just makes you what they want you to be. But I guess in my profile, I did have that in me, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Did you end up
But yeah,
being good at that as a drill sergeant?
I actually ended up being, not me saying that, but, whoever was under me were
Yeah.
saying that I was great. Because, I had a few situations. I had one situation where, like, there was I don't know, it's a squad. It's probably about around 60 soldiers or so, and they were like very rebellious, and like nobody could actually control them in a way, like could
Mm-hmm.
get them to be good. And they kind of asked me come middle of the whole thing and just see if I can fix this, and I ended up fixing it. And at the end of everything was just everybody was happy. A lot of respect from me and everybody else, and
Mm-hmm.
because you learn how to. There's a way to treat people, and there's a way to talk to people, and to motivate people. So and get the respect in a way. It's not, you cannot just go to somebody and just order them around and yell at them. I mean, there's a way of doing it.
Yeah, no,
And I
but
guess
you also can't just ask them. I see this
yeah,
a lot in parents these days, negotiating with their children, begging with their children.
yeah,
It's like that's
yeah,
one, they won't respect you. Two, it doesn't work.
no,
They're going to own you shortly because they actually want you
yeah,
to show them where the line is and to show them that that's too far. If you don't do that,
exactly.
actually, you're not doing your job. And so it's this weird thing between being nice but also being firm enough. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a balance there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great at the end. I mean, the beginning was hard, but at the end was amazing. And yeah, at the end they kind of asked me like, you should probably stay because you could be really good at this. And I'm like, I'm not staying in the army another second. I'm out of here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember the day that I brought my car so I can pack up all my stuff. And I remember the day you drive out. It's a beautiful day. Like, okay, back
Yeah.
to
How,
reality.
I mean, the retention rate, what is it? It's got to be fairly low. Like there's people like you just have to do it for 3 years. What do you think the percentages of those who stay and those who immediately move on as soon as they're allowed to?
Um, well, it kind of depends on the personality, I guess, but not a lot of people, they just dream about the in Israel it's just like, once we get out of the army, everybody's got this there's this pattern of like going and taking a long trip
Mm-hmm.
outside of Israel. So a lot of people would go to, either South America or, Thailand, India, Nepal, all those places where they can just, you know, zen out or whatever,
Yeah. Decompress. Sure. Yeah.
decompress.
Mm-hmm.
And because the way it works is, you get out of the army, you want to have that big trip, and then you come back and you start your life in a way. So you go either study or yeah, whatever whatever you think of doing. The
Mm-hmm.
good thing is the army kind of gives you it prepares you for all of that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
a lot in my case. Um, yeah, so I never had that urge to actually go and do the big trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did a short trip, but that was after. So what I was thinking of doing right after I get off the army was actually being a sound engineer.
Hmm.
So there was a sound engineering school in Israel at the time. It was the only one or the best one.
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up while I was actually still in the army, and me and my friend, we both no. So yeah, so I got off around 1999, and so I started that 2-year sound engineering school,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a lot of fun too.
Were you focused on like recording engineering or live engineering or both?
So that school would teach you a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was mainly recording, but there would be some broadcasting, a little bit of post-production stuff. I really like the studio work, and so I would spend a lot of time in the studio with some buddies, and because you can rent a studio and be there all night long just recording.
Mm-hmm.
So we would just book the studios, and we would go and record. It was tape machine at the time, tape machines, and it was absolutely awesome. And parallel to that, I applied for a couple jobs in the field. So there's a place in Israel, in Jerusalem, called the Yellow Submarine.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about the place is that they have a rehearsal room, they have venue, and they also have a recording studio that also can record live feeds from the venue. So it'll kind of overlooking the stage.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a one-stop shop for everything you want to do in sound engineering. And I remember going there, and I got hired.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing because, they would dump you into just start doing shows. And some shows were like real serious artists. And it'd be like, yeah, you're doing front of a house for this guy today.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, sweating. Because, I remember you mute a guitar once, and then you get the eyes from the stage like, my guitar's on. And that's never happened again.
Yeah.
But I did like the exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved that. I did that, and I did the recording. I was, I think, much better at the front of house stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. And you still remember the few shows that you did, that the sound was just perfect, and the band was playing perfect, and the place was packed, and everybody's back when sound engineer had some kind of like, they had the big board, so you can see this guy, so he knows all the buttons. He knows what they're doing. And how is he so smart to know all the buttons? And so that was cool at the time. I think I always went to occupations that make you a little cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was amazing. And I got hired to do stuff outside of the submarine as well. And it was like the best time. I at the same time I started my own studio, so I opened my own studio at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, I think, semi-entrepreneur. Like it was, I had different opportunities to do some ongoing recordings for like magazines and stuff like that. So like fixed income and stuff like that. So my studio was doing great, and working at the Yellow Submarine was amazing. Get paid really well, and hours were great. So life was beautiful. And I remember one day my friend called me, and he says, can you do some guitar teching for this guy? There's a guy named Shalom Chanoch, who is like I would say like our Bruce Springsteen in a way.
Okay.
He's still going. He's a badass guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his songs are amazing, and he's such a cool dude. So my friend was doing guitar teching for him, but he needed the sub for a few times and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I can actually. I know I play guitar, but so he taught me a few things. And he's like, you'll be fine. And what I'll do is I'll shadow you for a few shows, and you'll be good. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so I started doing guitar teching for him and for his guitar player, and so that's another stressful element.
Mm-hmm.
But I got good at that too. After a while. And I think my friend Sean at the time, who I'll get to later, also was doing guitar teching for a different band. So I was taking tips from him and setting up a rig with him. So yeah, I was all around music in so many ways. So I also started repairing some guitars after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had a studio, and I also had like a um, guitar repair stuff. And then I've been doing that for a while, and I think around 2006 or so, I had a girlfriend at the time, and she came to the U.S. to work for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then she invited me to come over and just hang a little bit and just you know um, just travel. So I met her in New York. We did some traveling in New York, and then we went to San Francisco, and then we went down to L.A. We drove down, and I met with my friend Sean. Sean is a good friend of mine from back in the day, and he was a guitar tech, and he was also a sound engineer. So we did a lot of projects together. And he decided to move to the U.S. He was a citizen, so he decided to move to the U.S. after things were a little crazy in Israel. Not that they're any amazing right now, but
Mm-hmm.
there was crazy times, and he decided that he needs to change, and he wanted to focus on his music career. So he came here, and I think he started working for GC for a while. So I came and I met him here, and we went to lunch. And the whole idea of actually doing the same kind of move kind of sparked in me from that trip, because to me, it felt like I hit a wall of like, okay, I'm doing everything great back home, and I'm making great money. I'm working with the top artists in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is great, but something was missing. Something like I I I oh, and I forgot to mention, before that I already signed up for guitar building school.
Oh,
Um,
in
so what
Jerusalem.
in Ramat Hasharon, which is by Tel Aviv,
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the story that saying I've been saying forever, and I get sick of hearing myself telling the story. But everybody would ask me like, "How did you started this?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the whole thing started when I went to Rocken Park in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go to Rocken Park, 2003, I think it was, and I went to a music store there, and I bought a 5-string bass, and it's an Ibanez BTB.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back, I realized both truss rods were broken, and I was bummed out. So, so, so I was like searching for any repair person in Israel that can help me try and fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a 500 euro guitar, which back then was a lot of money for me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've stumbled upon this guy named Jacob, and he said that he's starting a Lutheran school, and I got excited about that. So when he started, I told him I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like that was amazing. So
How old were you?
so 2003, I was probably around 25,
Yeah.
26
Mm-hmm.
ish. I want
Mm-hmm.
to say, yeah. So there was like a once a week thing, 6 guys in a little small workshop, designing their own instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and from scratch, and it was amazing. Um, and at the end of all of it, I made this terrible looking bass. It played okay. I still have it. But I just loved it so much. It was amazing. So I started putting all of my energy into that. And I took down the studio and kind of consolidated it in my apartment at the time to just do the little things and turn the entire studio into a shop. I started buying a lot of tools and ordering stuff from StewMac and made a few other terrible guitars. And yeah, so when I came to LA, I had this. I came back with the thought of like maybe just do a complete relocation, because I was feeling like I hit a wall in a way too. Kind of not much higher I can go, or this just it's a very small place, Israel, at the end, for good and bad. But I felt like I also needed to learn more. So I felt like I should go to a place where there's a lot more of that I can learn from. And so I came back and I decided, yes, I'm going to go for it. So I started selling all of my stuff and bought a plane ticket 6 months ahead, and told everybody, yeah, I'm taking off. And first they thought I was kidding, but then the day came and yeah, it was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So, and I ended up in LA. Sean picks me up and we go to his place. He lives in Van Nuys at the time. And he works at Guitar Center, but he's gigging like crazy shit. So he'll go to Whiskey A Go Go and Viper Room and play with a lot of people. And I would just follow him around and just see how things are going here, and and it was cool. And at the time, I knew that I'm not a guitar builder, but I am a sound engineer. So I look for anything sound engineering to work at. And I landed a job at the Avalon. It's on Vine in Hollywood. And I was working there for a while. Not a lot of shows, but doing some parties and stuff. And then I found a job at the Echoplex, which was a really cool spot for me. Echoplex has a lot of Echo and Echoplex. It's two venues in Echo Park. And I would do like five bands a night, and there would be a lot of secret shows that were cool. So I've done it for a good amount of time, and parallel to that, I would look for stuff to do during the day. So I could work during the day, or even apprentice during the day, and sound engineer at night. So I found a few avenues. There was across the street from SIR back in the day in Hollywood. There was a little repair shop, and he would take all of like the amps that SIR had and all the guitar that they had on top of like people that just walk-ins. Cool guy named Suze, that was his nickname.
Okay.
And I would, and that's where things were getting interesting.
As a guitar builder and a player, you have a sense for when something's working right. That's why so many of the world's best trust D'Addario. Unmatched tone, perfect intonation, and strings made to the tightest tolerances in the industry. That reputation is no accident. It's the result of 400 years of being obsessed with quality and innovation. D'Addario. When you know, you know. This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like D'Addario and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea.
I started apprenticing for him. He would pay us cash a little bit. And next to me on the bench was Mr. Isaac Jang,
Great.
and we're both there together.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yes, so this is the SIR. No, this is by SIR? No.
across the street exactly on
Yeah.
Wilcox. Yeah.
I interviewed Isaac at one point in time, and this came up as part of his story. He, however, failed to mention Avi Shabat was there. I'm going to bust his balls about that later. But okay. All right. You guys were working side by side. I didn't know that.
Side by side. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. Shoes with it was a sweetheart, but it was also a little moody. So there would be times when me and Isaac looking at each other like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" You know. And the repair business can definitely do that to you. There will be a lot of stressful moments in the repair business. This is why I kind of got out of it eventually. But yeah, it was fun. And we did it for a while. And at the same time, I connected with Andy Brower. He also had like a repair business, so he would throw me some work. I would go pick up stuff and wire some pedal boards or do some setups, refrets, and all that stuff. So I was just like trying to hit in every direction possible just to get my foot in the door. I even worked at Whiskey A Go Go for a day. It was funny.
One day?
One day. Yeah. It was not good. But
right.
But yeah, so I did that, and then one day Andy Brower said to me, like, there's a luthier in town that is looking for an apprentice. You want to meet him? I said, sure. And there was Lance Lerman from LSL. So, and he was living in Granada Hills at the time. So I went and saw him. He was working out of his garage, and he made this cool relic Telecaster replica. At the time, it was actually it even said Fender on it. And yeah, so it was all kind of hands-on. He's a long-time woodworker. He had experience working in China for furniture factories. Very, very nice person. Him and his wife kind of greeted me in, and he said, "Do you want to start making this with me?" And I said, "Yeah." So I would go there every day in the morning, and we would just make guitars. And yeah, we did it for a long time, and then we went to NAMM together. And people were raving about the guitars.
What year is this? Where are we at now in the timeline?
I want to say we're around 2009, maybe 2008.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe 2008. Yeah. Yeah. So we've done that, and I started going to NAMM shows with him, and I started learning how to actually, converse and meeting a lot of, artists, and learning about, the things we're doing good, the things we can do better, and, and that was amazing. And yeah, we did one in Nashville as well. It was absolutely amazing. We had a lot of fun. And then the company grew, and bigger spot, bigger space. And yeah, and then I met my wife Stacy, and I think it was 2009, 2010 or so. And we things change once you once you get married. It's no longer like it's no longer just yourself, and things had to change. We got a house, and I felt like, and she felt like, it's time for me to kind of take it to the next level. She knew that I've been kind of dying inside a little bit by um, just doing the same thing, and kind of like, not advancing as much. So, and at the time I was still taking a lot of repairs on the side. So yeah, she kind of said to me that we're gonna be fine. You should quit, and you should start your own thing. I remember it was a scary day for me, but I ended up doing that, and and then I started my repair shop, and advertised it a little bit, and step by step, I started taking a lot of repairs, and it grew and grew and grew. I made a lot of mistakes, but I mean, the repair shop ended up doing really well. I was doing that for years. I think I actually stopped repairing guitars like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, something like that. But yeah, so I was doing that, and Shabbat guitar started when my friend Gonzalo wanted to build, the first prototype, Snakehead. And he asked me if I can build it for him. And I said, sure, yeah, let's make it happen. So I didn't even have tools, so I started buying a little bit of tools here and there. My father-in-law helped me start the whole thing, so he gave me a little bit of a financial advance. I never paid him back.
You gave him a grandson, didn't you?
But I gave him a wonderful grandson, and I keep his daughter out of trouble.
Perfect.
So that helped a lot, and I started making guitars. So I made one, then I made another one, and then I remember the first NAMM show, I just walked around and just showed it to people, and then I think the first NAMM show as a Shabbat guitars with a booth was, I think, 2014 at the Dungeon.
Down in Hall E.
And Hall E. It was a very quiet place.
I loved Hall E, man. I found so many great guitar makers in Hall E over the years. It's
Hall E is amazing.
Yeah.
But you know me. I need the noise.
Yeah.
But no, Holly was fun, and it was like such a learning experience doing the first NAMM alone.
2014. Okay.
2014, I think, yes.
Yeah. So you weren't doing Shabbat very long before we met then.
When did we meet? Probably.
I think that your Shabbat guitars were in the first or second European tour we did, which was 2017 or 18. You flew, you came into the event in the Netherlands at Max Guitar, and a bunch of the guitar makers showed up. You and Reiner Tausch and maybe Donald McGreevy, a few others. Hilco was there. Yeah.
Hilco was there.
And so it was pretty early on for us because we only did that tour the first 2 years of the BGS tour. And so it had to be in 17 or 18. So that's not too long into your thing.
Yeah, I remember clearly you coming to visiting me one night. It was dark. You came by to visit the shop.
Oh yeah.
And we had a conversation, and you gave me a few good tips that I still carry on. And you always give me a lot of good tips, and they're always like,
oh yeah,
yeah, believe it or not, yes, there's, it's so anyway, I implemented a few of them, and it was it was fun to be in the Netherlands and seeing the show.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see you soon. Are you coming to Ancient City?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. We'll be,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I don't know if this podcast will be out by then, but the Boutique Guitar Showcase tour is coming to LA, and it's sometime middle of September. I'm sorry, I don't have the date right in front of me,
Yeah.
but check the website. If it hasn't happened yet, you'll find it.
I just went and dropped off a few guitars because he's literally down the street,
Yes.
and I saw the advertisement, so I will definitely
Okay.
be there. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I guess I was just maybe 3 years in business or so.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, the seeds were planted before, but like officially, yeah, that was around the time, and yeah, I was still trying to find my voice and kind of own it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think is different between what you did then and what you do now?
Well, the good news is, whatever I did then, those guitars are still out there being played. My
Mhm.
friend Sean, that I talked about, he's now playing with Smash Mouth. He used to play with Enrique Iglesias for a while and other
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
He's still playing those OG Shabbats, like serial number 4.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's like, you know,
Yeah.
like a Jerry Maguire thing. He's my first guy, and he's rocking those guitars, and they're solid, and they've been everywhere on the planet.
The thing about your
Yeah.
guitars,
So
Avi, is that they always just play, man. They always play right. They always feel great in the hands. And I've played a lot of your guitars. And so it's not like every once in a while there's a great one. It's every time it's a great one. And that's what somebody gets by buying your guitar versus, buying a factory guitar, is they get a guitar that's fucking great every time. That's how I would describe your guitars, to be honest. It's a very familiar silhouette. It's, you're not getting crazy with the shapes and the designs and such, but if you spec out a Shabbat guitar the way you want it, it's going to be a fucking great guitar in the way that we think of great guitars.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. Quote,
I mean,
Jamie Gale says, I make fucking great guitars.
yeah. We make fucking great guitars.
Yeah.
But,
I don't mean to be crass. I just mean like it's just that straight up. Like, and if we're talking sort of rock and roll culture, you know what I mean? You place one finger down, you smack an A major chord, it spanks. It's alive. It's loud. It gives you all the pushback it's supposed to give, but yet it's easy to play. It's smooth. It's very resonant. You pluck a string on your guitar and the whole thing moves as it should. It's a really great musical instrument. You make a unique world-class guitar. And, sometimes people look at guitars like the guitars you make in the context of me and what I do with the Boutique Guitar Showcase. And they'll say, well, why is that here? Because they're used to seeing me as a freak show, right? Like I'm the guy with the really weird guitars, and your guitar is not as weird as a lot of the guitars that we have, right? And so, but for me, the whole thing about, I don't define the boutique guitar as fancy. I don't define it as expensive. I don't define it as handmade or where it's made.
Yeah.
I define the boutique guitar as a vision uncompromised.
Yeah.
And you make uncompromising guitars.
Yeah.
And that's
my fault. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your fault, man. But
I would make a lot more of them if I was compromised.
well, right. But you're not willing to do that, And so listen, in 20, so that time I came to see you, it must have been the same trip because we showed up in an RV, Roberta and I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So it's 2018. After the 2018,
you were cooking meth in the back.
I don't think so. In 2018, Roberta and so Seymour Duncan came to us at the NAMM show and said, we want to sponsor what you're doing. said, how much does a sponsorship cost? I said, I don't know. I never had a sponsor. I said, you tell me, what do you want to do and how much you think it should cost? And I'll tell you whether I can do it, maybe. But it begged the question, like, oh, I was going to have to define the Boutique Guitar Showcase more clearly in my mind, so I understood who was okay to align ourselves with, because Seymour Duncan is, they make custom pickups, but they're also one of the big guys, right? And so are they or aren't they? As far as pickups are concerned, there's no one any bigger than Seymour Duncan, And so it was like, is this boutique or not? And so Roberta and I, we rented an RV after NAMM and we drove up the coast we visited Tom Anderson, probably around the same time we visited you because you're not so far apart from each other. And so we visited you, Tom Anderson. We visited Santa Cruz. We visited Seymour Duncan and Santa Barbara. We also visited, Michihiro Matsuda and Irvin Samaji and Steve Klein and Scott Walker, a few like really, really clearly boutique guys. So I could try and understand this line, where I have to draw the line in the sand to say this is boutique, this is not boutique. And after that trip and going to Tom Anderson, who was making maybe 900 guitars a year at that point, they're doing about 1,200 now. They told me, Tom said at the time, like, I make 900 guitars because I think if I make 901, I won't make the same quality. I can't make more of these and keep the quality. Yeah. And that's, that's almost 10 years ago now. And they've figured out a way to make another 300 a year, to increase production. Yeah. But, and so that's when I realized, okay, for me, I don't care how many guitars they're making. I don't care whether it's Nick Huber making 300 guitars a year or whether you're making 1,200 guitars at Tom Anderson or whether you're making 5,000 guitars like Dingwall is doing. If you don't compromise the vision. So PRS was a boutique guitar company until the SE series. But once you put out a guitar where you would never dream of putting that in the hands of John Mayer or Carlos Santana, their biggest artists, like you'd never imagine saying this is your new guitar. Right? Because you've made compromises to get to lower and lower price points, then you're out of the boutique market. You've compromised the vision. And I'm not trying to criticize PRS. I think it's a valid business model and we need to have, cheap guitars. You said your first guitar was a Samick and my first guitar was a Harmony, and we needed those guitars, man. Yeah. And so I'm thankful for people who make lower price guitars, but that's the line in the sand for me is the vision uncompromised. And so, it has to be unique. It has to be world class, right? And they have to contribute something to the conversation of guitar. And to me, the thing that you contribute to the conversation of the guitar for me is you represent almost what sort of birthed a lot of the second major movement of the guitar, which to me is the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstein. It's the moment where we're like, I'm going to take something that Fender did right and something that Gibson did right, and we're going to mash it together, and we're going to try and figure out how to make this thing all work. And that was Charvel and Jackson and ESP, and then later on Ibanez and all these companies. Because Ibanez at that point was making copy guitars, but after that they made Super Strats, and PRS. PRS is a Les Paul Strat, man. It's absolutely a synthesis of those two things. But you live every day sort of in that. I don't mean this as a backhanded comment, but that spirit of the early sort of Charvels and such is what you do every day. I think. Is that wrong? So
yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how I kind of landed into that. It's almost blurry to me how I landed into that, but it's pretty clear right now of what's the mission is, and I remember a lot of noise around. For so long of like, why would you even exist? Why do people need another copy or whatever? And I would just keep pushing back and I'm just, and I mean, I don't know, but they are buying them. So, I mean, it's
at the risk of being insulting.
I couldn't answer that.
Listen, at the risk of being insulting, I think you make Frankenstein's dream.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, yeah, that's the mission.
well, no, and I don't mean that in any negative way at all. I mean, if you think about what
Yeah.
we call Eddie Van Halen's sort of Frankenstein, right? It's just the idea that it's not a copy guitar. It's a guitar where you get to take all of your favorite things about guitar and get them in one guitar. You know, I can see a guitar behind you right now, the black one. That's a clear example of give me a bit of this, give me a bit of that, you know, and I'm going to take all my favorite shit about guitar and I'm going to put it in this one, you know, and that's sort of a
Yeah.
Frankenstein dream. Is that insulting to you? I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a good way.
No, no, no. One of the things that guided me is that let's give it a shot. Let's try that. Let's see. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see what's happening. What happens? What happens if I make a 24 and 75 scale a C style guitar? What happens if I'm going to throw a wraparound around it
Mm-hmm.
on it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What happens if I put a snake head instead of a 6 in line? All those things. What happens if I'm not necessarily going to put a bone nut? What if happens if I go with this and that? There's no like when I started this whole thing before I was doing my own thing. It was just like the traditional thing. They were like, you gotta go traditional. You gotta do this and this. You gotta. No, I don't believe in that. I believe that we are advancing. There's so many things that are better. There's so many improvements on things. There are things that are great the way they were,
Mm-hmm.
and you can keep them the way they were. And I mean, that's how I go. I mean, and so many cool things happen when you just roll with it and try things. And some things are not going to work, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
like this guitar is the Dweezil Zappa signature model is like if I would never build it on my own. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I had to, I need I need a crazy genius like him to say, okay, this is what I want.
All right.
And
Walk me
I
through
mean,
that. Tell me how that happened. So why did he ask for that stuff? You must have justified it. He must have told you why he wanted this stuff.
um, so I came to visit him and we just ran through the stuff that is inspiring him at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got the go-tos that they have a lot of weight and history, and his dad, so you can't take that away from him, and you cannot, you got to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way also Dweezil is so open to so many things. Like it's not stopping at one thing, so it's not like this is the ultimate guitar for me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's so many layers, and it can make anything sound amazing, and anything can work. I mean, but in the realm of what I know how to do, which is these types of guitars, this is what we went with. This is what he went with. And it's very simplified, kind of like EVH inspired in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wiring specs that he likes, that makes him uh, generate some cool sounds. Um, and yeah, we ended up with that. I mean, I didn't have any pushbacks for the most part. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like, yeah, whatever you want, we'll try it, and if you like it, good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he approached me before and just saying like, how much he loves my guitars online, and then I came and I gave him, I built him one
Mm-hmm.
um initially, and he loved it, and then we kept the conversation going, and we ended up with this signature model,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to try and also come up with some other visions down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's those things, they just they educate you, and they make you evolve and learn, because at the end of the day, it's the people that are using these tools live or on recordings or whatever, they're the one that will give you the real feedback of how
Yeah.
good you are.
Yeah, but this guitar looks both broken and old and incomplete and mismatched.
Yeah.
Dr. Frankenstein's monster stitched together from parts robbed from graves. Come on, Avi. Why did he choose that? Because you don't always make a guitar that looks that way. You know, the guitar on the other side there, the blue one, doesn't look all mismatched. So you don't always do that. So why did he choose that stuff?
I think, we all have our heroes. And I think Eddie is a big hero of his.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I know, but he's a big hero of all of us. And I think this is like a paying respect to Eddie and a little bit of Jeff Beck in there as well. So it's just for him. It's also like painting. It's a canvas to kind of give that respect. I feel. I don't. I mean, I'm not sure if
so there's
100% right,
elements
but there's a lot elements of that he wanted to implement it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I've never thought about your guitars in that exact kind of way. Earlier on you mentioned Echo Park, and I kind of wanted to bring up something. Did you run across Michael Spalt back in those days? Because Michael was in Echo Park at that point.
I actually went and looked for a job with him as well.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was you remember that his setup? It was just like, it looks like an open garage
I met him
kind of
as he had just moved to Vienna, actually. I didn't know him in LA. I knew him just as he settled down in Vienna. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very nice to me when I met him, and he's still nice to me.
Yeah.
But it was I think he was around that time where it was a messy time in the US at the time, and I think he said, like, I'm not hiring because I'm about to just leave. But the funny thing is, like, I was doing sound at the Echo, and somebody was playing a Spalt on stage. I'm like, what is this freaky thing?
Yeah.
It's like, this guy is down the street. You got to go say hi.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Well, that's why I bring it up, because Michael's, the things he's best known for is sort of assemblage art within his guitars. For our listeners who don't know who Michael Spalt is, check it out, because he does this really incredible sort of assemblage art with epoxy resin with many objects and things in the guitars. And so, you have sort of an assemblage there, but you have an assemblage of guitar things on that, at least Dweezil Zappa thing, whereas Michael's got stuff you found at flea markets and other things in creepy little bisque dolls and such in his guitars, and but you've got this fascinating sort of I'll take the pizza with everything on it kind of version that Dweezil's got from his Guitar Heroes. That's a great little story. Again, the guitar on the other side is not always that. It doesn't define you. But I think it's interesting that you do it. And I had a chance to play one of those Dweezil Zappa signature models. I think I don't know if you released it in AMP, but I definitely saw it in Mannheim at the Guitar Summit, maybe a year or two ago, whenever it was. And you were in Mannheim's Hall E downstairs, I think.
This year I'm not going to make it, but every time I make it to Mannheim, it's always last minute. So they put me in the dungeon.
I see. Okay. Yeah. We'll be on tour during it this year too. They keep moving the dates. I used to be able to squeeze it in between tour stops, and I can't do it this year. So, but, so that's interesting. I'm not aware, or I wasn't aware of all of the people who are currently in my life who were all interacting with each other, yourself and Isaac Jang and Michael, and I'm sure there's others in there as well.
Nick is a big one too. Me and Nick got really close.
Yes,
Nick Huber.
Yeah.
It's a really fun community. It is.
It is. Yeah. I mean, my origin story and Nick, we go right back to the beginning. At that point, Nick sold his first guitar in North America to me, and so we've been around each other for a long time. And, well, okay. All right. So listen, let's find our way back to where we were. So, all right. So now you've got these guitars, you're making them, you do your first NAMM show in 2014. And I mean, I think you've got to me, I think you're a global success story at this point in time. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but you're making quite a few guitars at this point in time. How many Shabbat guitars a year are being shipped at this point?
I think around 300, roughly, maybe a little less.
I mean, that's as many guitars as Nick is making, and Nick has been doing this a lot longer than you. Nick's got his 35th anniversary, and you're like 10?
Wow. Yeah.
Tell Nick to get his shit together.
It's a funny story because I still make them in house.
Mm-hmm.
But leading up to NAMM, we had dinner, so Nick came by, and I think I was bringing about 35 guitars to NAMM that year.
Yeah,
and he's like, "How the hell can you make 35 guitars out of this hole? I gotta go back to Germany and start yelling at my people."
He's got a big workshop now.
Yes.
He does.
It's gigantic. I've been the last year too.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's I think something about where I came from, where I know how to utilize every square inch to its fullest.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it, but
all right. Would your employees be surprised to find out that you were a drill sergeant in the Army?
Maybe, I don't know. I might have told them. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. And so, all right. Is there any? I mean, that sort of brings us about 10 years ago. Are there any other significant moments since that part that we should include in the narrative of your life story?
I mean, no. After it's. I think this year is the first year I really feel like we have. I really feel like there's a following. There's a constant stream of interest and orders,
mm-hmm.
and I also feel like we kind of honed everything as far as getting the product to its perfect place,
mm-hmm.
And I mean, I couldn't be happier, honestly, and more proud of what we accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a wonderful team now. It's a small team, but wonderful people. And as time goes by, it's just like it's a tough business, because especially if you interview a lot of people that either work with maybe a family member or alone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the two ways you can take it. But once you start employing people, it becomes a whole different game. And, there's a lot of learning experiences when you do that, and how to make it work. And in this business as well, it's just, everybody goes into that, or most people goes into that, go for the passion of it, and maybe one day being able to do the same. I know I was, it's in the back of your mind all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's I had some great employees that took off and went on their own, and I in one side of it is like, it's a sad reality that great people in every possible way, but on the other end is like they're out there now doing the same thing, and kind of keeping it going. So I feel proud of that as well. So, but it's challenging at times, But
yeah, sure.
C'est la vie.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't, everybody would be doing it, or at least a lot more people would be doing it, right? And so, there's a certain amount of this can be taken the wrong way, but we'll see how it goes. Well, I mean, that's what defines those who run the business and those who work in the business, right? Those who are willing to take that risk, who are willing to suffer the losses and the pain, the discomfort.
Yeah.
You know, it's you can have a lot more friends being an employee than you can being the boss or the owner. You know,
Yeah.
it's very. I experienced. You know, I don't come from a family of business people. You know, I'm one of the only people in a very large family that actually runs a business. And like you, I grew up in a sort of poor area and had poor friends. And there's an isolation that happens to that.
Yeah.
You know, my family doesn't quite know how to relate to me. And so there's a bit of a distance that happens there. My old friends, you know, don't quite know how to relate to what they presume is Jamie, the uber successful international man of business, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you and I know it's not always so glamorous, but from a distance and on Instagram, it looks that way all the time. Right. And so, and I have a good life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about it. But there's a certain amount of, when you rise up, there's a phrase that says it's lonely at the top. And I'm certainly not at the top of the world. Don't get me wrong, but you end up at top of places. And there were fewer peers there. And so I think it's one of the reasons that you probably value a relationship with someone like a Nick Hooper so much is because you both are running a guitar company. And so you both have similar struggles and victories and values. You know, you can both express that you're content with achieving this thing because you both achieved that thing. And you can both talk to each other about the troubles you're having with a particular thing because you're both having the same troubles, you know? But there's a hell of a lot fewer of you who have started a brand and successfully run it, selling it around the world than there are working within the brand. Right. And so it's successively fewer people, and yeah.
This is it's crazy to think that I'm here where I'm at. It's almost unfathomable to me, but I'm just very grateful. You know, it's crazy. But
you've earned it.
You know, I've earned it. But you know, it's a series of decisions in a way, a series of moves, a series of inspirations. It's, you know, a lot of things that can go either wrong or right. A lot of, you know, there's so many also business decisions that people make in the music business that can make them or break them. You know. And, you know, a lot of people lost their intellectual properties. And, you know, I can't say I wasn't in that, on that boat a few times and stuff, you know, and, you know, I'm very grateful in a way that, you know, there's a lot of situations where I was, I kind of lost my way in a way, and having good friends and people that kind of watch over me and family that kind of kept you in the right direction and kept you true to yourself. So it's not to take for granted. It's a lot of things that are going right. And now that you're older and wiser, you it's easier for you not to make those mistakes. But back then, when you're a little more desperate in a way or just confused, it's so easy to do that out of desperation. So yeah.
From an outside perspective, people think that you have a lot of choices, but in the actual scenario, you might have had no choices or very few choices.
Very few choices, yes.
You know, I went through a scenario, listen, back when the global economy crashed in 2008, in May of 2008, so did I. You know, I'd been in business only where every year was better and better and better and better, and we'd only ever made more money. And so I had the unfortunate habit of thinking like, oh, I will make that up in the future, because I did every year for many years. that I did make more money the next year, every year for many years. And it didn't develop great financial responsibility, when you felt you could just sell more and make more, which is, And so I went bankrupt in 2008, with that. And we had maintained a music school and such, and I had rented some stuff. And I remember someone who worked for us at the music school, and he thought we were spending way too much on some rental gear. And he kept on busting my balls on why I had this really expensive digital drum set. And I eventually kind of painted into a corner, had to be really uncomfortably honest with him. I said, listen, man, if I make the monthly payments, I can keep it. If I bring it back, I no longer qualify to rent the cheaper one.
Yeah.
It's expensive to be broke.
Yeah.
You got no money and you have to pay more than everyone else. You got no money, you have to pay higher interest than everyone else. It can be, you can't take advantage of the quick pay. You can't take advantage of the best prices and buy it when it's on sale because you didn't have the money when it's on sale. You're only buying things when you absolutely have to, and so, I worked my way out of that situation. I'm not in that situation today, but at the time, it was really hard for other people around me to try and figure out, what had happened because, even though I put myself in that situation, actually the situation I was in wasn't horrible. It's just that the banks and the government all freaked out in 2008 and everyone just pulled everything. They just froze accounts and stuff and pulled money back and people, there weren't enough bankruptcy trustees. There weren't enough locksmiths. There weren't enough cleaning people. Like the whole thing was chaos. There were houses down in Florida that sat there for 2 years without the bank even going into them. They owned them because they didn't have people to go around to enough of the houses to check them out and to change the locks, And so, in a normal day, we could have negotiated that situation and just everything would have been fine. But on that day, it wasn't a normal day anymore, and countries went out of business in 2008. Like countries and cities went bankrupt. It was a crazy time.
I remember that day. It was crazy. I was broke as hell. So I didn't have much to lose. so I wasn't too worried. I'm like, all right.
Well,
it wasn't a smooth ride since then, but yeah.
No, that's when I ended up on the road. That's when I ended up on the road selling guitars and traveling from shop to shop. And a number of people looked at me and said, well, you're great at talking about my guitars. And, actually, I was on the road selling acoustic guitars. And Nick said, you're on the road. Can you take 2 of my guitars? So I had a couple of Nick Cooper guitars. And then Jens Ritter said, I heard you got 2 of Nick's guitars. Will you take my guitars? I said, sure, man. And then Uli Teufel said, you got Nick and Jens's guitars? Take my Teufel guitars. No joke. I didn't ask any of them. I was just like, all of a sudden, oh, Jamie's out there. Take my guitars. Show them to people and sell them. And I did. I'm good at selling guitars.
To the stars.
But it was at a time where, man, I needed to work my ass off and make things happen again because we crashed and burned in 2008. Yeah. Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com. This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like the Dario and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea. And
crazy times.
Yeah. And so, although it takes a lot of, there have been a number of lucky situations in my life, absolutely very lucky situations. And I suspect you would say the same thing, but you also have to be willing to take that opportunity when it happens. And most people would have said no.
Yeah.
And you saw it as an opportunity when someone else saw it as too much risk.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, of course. You wouldn't have left your job and started your own thing. When your wife Stacy told you, all right, it's time to move on. It's time to do something more on your own, and you started the repair shop and then ultimately Shabbat Guitars. A lot of people were like, I can't leave my job. I can't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. It was, something to hold on to. But yeah, like I said, there's you gotta listen sometimes to the to the uh to the universe.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
And take that opportunity.
But I could I also think at the same token it's just I could be a, a bigger risk taker and I'm not. I think the part of our nature as luthiers is we are not businessmen. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
Many are not.
I'm many are not, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm very content with the way things are right now, and with all of the uncertainties that we have in the marketplace right now. It's I'm very happy that you know I cannot go to do a show in Germany because I have too much production to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very blessed in that way. So I can't complain.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
So back to your guitars for a second. I described your guitars in my not so eloquent way, and I
I don't know how to describe them.
already wish I could change it. I wish I actually had said not Frankenstein's dream, but Dr. Frankenstein's dream. Nonetheless. No, you are going to describe
I'll do
it.
that later.
You're going to describe it. You're going to describe it right now. How do you see Shabbat?
Um, yeah, this is another one of those that I keep hearing myself saying it, but I will say it again. Uh, well, you know, uh, the way I see it, like I always say, is we found a formula that works as far as the stability of the construction of the instrument. There's the materials that we like to use and we know work, and there are the old school stuff. I I would I would say we're going for a modern vintage combination and a tool that is timeless tool that serves you and does the job, delivers delivers great tone and stability. Um, and it's cool. I like to make cool things that I think are cool. I think our guitars are cool and they have a personality and they age with you as you go along. The I'm dying to see how my guitars will look in 100 years from now. That's gonna be cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
And some that are coming back after going on the road, it's just you can already see the wear and tear, and it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't have great crazy statements. It's I make what I like, what I think is cool, what sounds good to me, what plays good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I make sure those things are stable, like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and you can leave them for your kids, and that's the one you want to pick up. It's not too heavy to pick up, and it's always gonna deliver. And it'll inspire you. I know my guitars are inspiring me. I have so many that I keep for myself. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
probably any almost any model I would keep one or two,
Mm-hmm.
just so I'll have something to play around with,
Mm-hmm.
and also to come back to as as the inspiration or the model.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just find myself. I have a lot of other guitars, but I find myself really gravitates towards um, what I cooked. And I told my wife yesterday, I'm so glad that I didn't sell the ones that you pushed me to sell, that are like super inspiring to me. And uh, so yeah, it's nothing fancy. It's just a great tool that works. And the feedbacks that I get from people that are buying them is amazing. That's what keeps me going. Everybody's just raving about everything they get. It's rare that I would get bad reviews, but if that ever happens, I treat it with the utmost respect and try to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, but nothing crazy, just rock and roll machine. That's
right.
that's what it is.
Okay, I'm going to take one more crack at this. What do you mean by cool?
Like ripped jeans, cool. I don't know,
All right.
cool to me. Again, I'm not cool.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Did
I'm not cool. It's cool to me.
yeah.
And I you'll see at NAM. There's some more cool shit coming. Um, I always like to push it,
Mm-hmm.
and I I respect people like Spalt as well, because I do want to put some of the artistic parts into it. I think it's part of what I'm about as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just, for me, it's more about honing the the uh, the template,
Mm-hmm.
or the base that you can work on. But from then on, once it's all good and ready, I will start pushing the envelope a little bit into just going crazier a little bit and just doing things that are just like, whoa, this is kind of like a one of a kind piece. So I think that's the time to start doing that. And I'm not afraid of, like, pushing the envelope and trying new things, because it seems like it's always been well received.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it was a little too early to go crazy and a little too cheap or cheesy, but I don't think it's the case these days. So we're gonna do some cool things, and yeah, I just like having fun with it, and
Mm-hmm.
getting new ideas.
Great. I, I,
Yeah.
I, I accept your answer. I'm not happy with it, but I accept it.
What do you want from me?
Well, what I want, honestly, is not just from you. It's because someone else has told me this, that they want to make cool things recently. And I keep thinking, like, how the hell do you define cool? And I think you're right, but you used another reference of an icon. You used, like, it's ripped jeans are cool. Like, okay, I accept. However, why? Why
They're
are they
actually not
cool?
cool.
They're
They're
gonna,
actually not cool at all. I hate ripped
well,
jeans.
they were to me.
I would never wear them.
Listen, my mom, it was very hard for her to buy me new clothes, growing up. And I was part of that era when, I think Def Leppard's Hysteria came out, and the singer Joel, I forget his last name now, Joel Elliott, had like these like stonewash ripped jeans, like, or acid wash ripped jeans or something, in all the
Yeah.
videos. And I took a brand new pair of jeans my mom could barely afford to buy and a razor blade, and I cut them up and I hid them under my bed. And so I didn't wear them when she could see me, but I wore them to school and stuff. And she found out, and she was mortified. She was mortified. It's like perfectly good clothes, and I cut holes into them, and it was tough for her. But I was cool.
Yeah.
I was cool.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it's cool to me, and it's cool to a few other people. It's not cool to a lot of other people,
Mm-hmm.
and annoying them is part of what I like as well. It's what gets me going. Okay, but it's just I just love everything about every guitar that comes out of the shop, and we get to go crazy. Like we have a batch coming out, going to Thailand next week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of splatters, a lot of crazy stuff that it's not necessarily vintage inspired in any means,
Mm-hmm.
but to me it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that whoever buys this guitar there is going to fall in love, and it's going to be heaven for them.
Yeah.
And every most of our guitars are not most, all of them are one of a kind at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
all different. They're all different, and the specking of them is almost endless, which is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I should probably thin it down a little bit, but I'm too deep in there right now, so
No,
I don't know.
it's great. And that's that spirit of those early 80s Super Strats and guitars, because nobody I listened to back in those days played the same guitar. Nobody wanted the guitar that the other guy, the fans did. But if you were on a stage, you needed your own guitar. And everybody was trying to get their own guitar, their own shape, their own colors, their own paint splatter, their skull inlays, or whatever the hell it was. It was going to be your own thing. And so, I guess I'm still living that out with the Boutique Guitar Showcase. I'm still looking for unique, guitars that define themselves separately. Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna run out of it. I see a lot of cool stuff coming out all the time, and it's great that you show that around, because a lot of those guys can easily disappear out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't know. So I think it's cool, and it's so also very inspiring to me. So I kind of bummed out that I'm not going to Summit, because Summit is a cool place, and there's a lot of cool things to see.
Definitely one of the best guitar shows in the world, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Avi, as we're should think about moving towards wrapping up the show here, I always like to throw it back to our guest. Is there a topic or something that you imagined we might actually discuss today that you hope to discuss? So we can cover something that had I done a better job, I might have asked you X or.
No, I think I can't think of anything. I think it was very flowy. I think it was great. Like I usually, get speechless in interviews. I'm not great with interviews, but with you, it felt really very good flow, and I think we covered.
Okay,
I think we covered everything. I don't know.
Cool.
Do you feel like we didn't cover everything?
I think you and I could talk for a very long time, that we wouldn't be shortage on conversation if we wanted to.
True.
But, we should, I try and keep the podcast within a certain amount, within at least 2 hours sort of thing, and we're a little over the hour and a half mark right now. So it's time to at least thinking about closing it up. And so, Avi, thank you so much for being on the show. I've really enjoyed our conversation, getting to know you. I don't think I'm going to forget that drill sergeant bit anytime soon, because it's such a contrast. You're such a gentle, kind spirit, and just the idea that,
look,
it's one of the things I love.
Drop down, give me 20.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I really, truly love about my humanity, is that there are things that make me uncomfortable, but I actually know that I am capable of making myself do things, making myself behave in other ways if I need to, and that gives me a sense of agency and confidence. A lot of people talk about being anxious or having anxiety these days. And, it's moments like that where you realize, if Avi Shabat, the kind, gentle guitar maker, can work as a drill sergeant, it means that, this sort of, mental sort of elasticity that we have, that we can do the things when the time comes that we need to do. And that gives me confidence that I can handle pretty much anything that comes my way, And so I love to hear that you were a drill sergeant at one point in time. Yeah. And so I think it's fantastic. So for those of you who are listening and who are in the guitar business, Avi and I are going to talk for just another 2 or 3 minutes over on the Business of Guitar, which is on our Patreon. We put it on Patreon because frankly, we're going to talk about guitar business that some of you, it's none of your damn business. And for those of you who are in the guitar business, it gives us the freedom to talk a little more openly about some inside business, guitar stuff for those who are guitar makers or in the guitar business. So if you want to hear that part of the conversation, head over to Patreon /Jamie Gale Music or the Business of Guitar. Oh, damn it. I don't know. Listen to the commercial. It'll show up for the Business of Guitar. Avi, thanks so much for being on Life with Strings Attached. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Jamie. It was a pleasure.
Take care.
You too.
You've been listening to Life with Strings Attached. If today's conversation meant something to you, consider passing it on. These stories find their place through the people who share them. A new episode comes out every Friday, right here, wherever you're listening. I'm Jamie Gale, and thanks for listening to Life with Strings Attached.